Hey folks, this video is brought to you by RivianStories.com. Please join us there to stay up to date with all the latest Rivian news and chat with other Rivian owners. And if you need a t-shirt or sweatshirt, please check out our shop. Thanks so much for watching here on YouTube. Please do like and subscribe to help us get the word out about Rivian. So guys, we were just together last night. It was a fun RS backer chat. We had a lot of people on. I did not expect to see you guys so soon. And a tough email, tough communications, tough news brings us here today. I'm going to start off just by reading what we all received on email today around 4 p.m. Central. Looks like 4:04. These price increases, the result of inflationary pressure on the cost of supplier components and raw materials across the world, will allow us to maintain product excellence as we continue investing in electrification for our shared future. We'll remain committed to offering compelling products and helping drive competition, inspiring as many drivers as possible to switch to electric vehicles. To that end, today we're also announcing the introduction of some new stuff, and it goes down the new stuff. We're grateful to you for being an early supporter of Rivian and helping drive the EV movement towards an enduring and livable world. If you have any questions, we're here to answer them. Thank you again for being on this journey with us, Team Rivian. What that basically, for me, translates into, the next screen I'll show you guys is this. So you can see I screenshotted this at 4:40, 80,275 at 8:02, $98,175. There's been so much talk in the last 4 hours on Rivian Stories. There's never been as much. I mean, I'm surprised we haven't crashed the site by now. I know that there's crazy talk on all the other forums too. People are livid. It's almost speechless, but let's go for it.
So first and foremost, that email is and number one, inflation is not 20%. And trying to blame this on inflation is complete and total crap, because inflation is nowhere near 20%. The other thing, if Rivian seriously cares about their mission to encourage electrification, they do not yet realize how many cancellations they're going to get as a result of this. And there's a lot of competitive offerings out there, whether they're EV options or ICE options. We even touched on that last week. What I would tell people is, I feel like Rivian made a bad decision. They're going to realize, even as a result of all the knee-jerk cancellations, that they made a bad decision. And I would say, give it a week before you cancel, because I do feel that the right thing for Rivian to do is going to be to honor at least a good portion of their early reservations. I mean, they're trying to build a brand. They're trying to, make the world a better place. And they should be focused on customers and customers that they already have committed. And a 20% price increase is too much for a lot of people to handle.
Yeah.
And also, it feels like they're breaking a promise.
Jimmy, do you want to give us your very top takeaways or thoughts, state of mind, whatever it might be?
In Rivian's defense, and they have a very small one, I mean, there's fine print in the pre-order agreement. I get incremental price increases. It happens every model year. But this sucks. I don't have any real intelligent ways to put this other than it sucks. And I feel duped. I feel, I'm just going to give you feelings at this point. I don't, you know what I mean? It just, not even just the three of us, but like Nikki, the three of us, we have, and everybody else in the community has talked up this company so much. And through all the delays, a good portion of us have been true to Rivian. And now I look like an idiot for canceling if I do. If I don't, you look like an idiot for spending $15,485 more dollars than I was going to 5.5 hours ago. Mm-hmm. And oh, by the way, I take delivery possibly in the next 29 days. Mm-hmm. So I'm already pricing out ICE trucks. There's not another EV truck option that the McGovern household wanted. Mm-hmm. I don't want a dual motor. I wanted the quad motor. That's why we did what we did. And we're perfectly okay with buying an ICE vehicle. And going that route. Whether it's a Frontier, going back Nissan, I go with a Frontier, or a Titan, or a Jeep Wrangler Rubicon, or a Gladiator Rubicon. I've never had a Jeep. Maybe it's time for a Jeep, Skyler. Maybe I'm sold now. I don't know. Yeah.
Jeeps are awesome. You will love them. I was hoping that Rivian would be the Jeep of the EV world, but they have absolutely priced themselves out of it. And sorry, one other thing that I'm going to get off my chest real quick is this is absolutely terrible timing. Who is making these decisions at Rivian to encourage all of these cancellations that will happen before an earnings call? And I hope that the analysts ask them a lot of questions about this and ask about the number of cancellations, because it's going to happen. I would still absolutely recommend that people wait, because I think that Rivian can and should fix this. But literally, so a message that I got since we've been talking from a very smart guy that I respect and appreciate his opinion a lot. Very simply, what a disaster. What on earth are these guys thinking? And in all honesty, I want to hear Rivian answer for this, and actually answer for this before the earnings call, because I feel like if they wait that long, it will be a bad thing for Rivian's business.
Mm-hmm. There's been several people on my post here that have said this timing is intentional because they're going to report pre-orders as of February 28th, not March onwards. And that's why they waited so long. I've never seen so many comments. And I would invite Rivian to come on here and just look at these comments, and a lot of great points. There's like over 100 of them on just my little thing here. And most of this stuff is just like, it feels more personal, obviously we need to talk about facts and whatnot too. And, trying to talk about inflation and that, I won't even get into that, because I know that there's more at stake than just normal inflation on like what we see as consumer goods. There's room. But to me, if I come back to you guys, Jimmy, you said, I feel duped. We've talked it up so much. We've had plenty of other people who've actually used the word like, I feel betrayed. The reason is, and I said this on my post and in several of the comments, it's to me not even as much about the price increase. And I said it's how they did it. Meaning that I'm in the month of my delivery, March, April. And we've heard nothing about it at all. RJ mentioned that there might be at some point. We've heard nothing at all. And then we get an email without so much, I read it all to you, without so much of it as regret to tell you, we're sorry. Just like, here's the facts, here it is, it'll be updated. Something like this should come from RJ. Seriously, make it a little bit personal at this point. Because we have been with you for over 3 years, and all of a sudden, right before you're about to take delivery, you're going to increase, Jimmy, you said 15. Mine is $18,000 more. And to me, you know what? I could write a check for that, and I'm not trying to brag. But everything that won us to this company was their culture and how they care for doing the right thing. And this was done like so poorly from a communication and care like standpoint that the very things that I loved most about Rivian is like crumbles. You know, I mean, it feels like betrayal. It feels like you got duped. And like Jimmy says, like, it sucks because no way will I cancel right now. I'll cancel at the very end, but I won't go through with this. And to me, it's not because of the money. It's because of how they handled it. To me, it does. It shows the true colors of the culture. This communication thing that Rivian has going on that we were told was going to change from RJ 9 months ago, it has only gotten way, 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 way worse. And Rivian's made a huge mistake, if not from a business standpoint, a huge mistake from their brand culture, what they're projecting through this. How they've communicated this is a mistake, period.
Hugely. And so first and foremost, it seems totally and completely counter to their mission and the culture that they have tried to impart as part of the Rivian way. And secondly, for a new company, the way that you build a brand and the way that you build loyalty within your customer base is, I'll tell you what, if there was a book on how not to do it, this would be at the top of the freaking list. Jimmy, this made your wife cry.
It did twice. It's hard to be fired up, Skylar, when you're just this disappointed, man. Like I have so personal fault number 105, and this isn't in that order, but or in like order priority or whatever. But like, I am an extremely prideful person. I don't know what to do other than give it a week, cancel, start working that deal with my local Nissan dealership or local Jeep dealership before I get home. That way, when I do get home from this deployment, I'm able to take delivery of a truck of sorts, and I can start my adventure sooner than later at right around half the price. But let me say this: it's the three of us talked at length about this a few months back, and I was very quickly reminded, going back through all the emotions, and somebody once said that these trucks, Rivian was selling them for a song. And then she no longer worked for the company.
Well, I'll tell you what. RJ, Rivian, somebody needs to come out and talk about this. And in my opinion, you need to at least make it right for the customers that have been there with you for years. Some of us over 3 years. We made an investment and a commitment to you, Rivian, and we need to see that we're valued in return. I mean, this really is a slap in the face. And if Rivian does not fix this, then I'm going to be getting something else. And I know a lot of people have already knee-jerked and canceled as a result of this. And I feel like Rivian might have a more significant impact to their business as a result of this, instead of honoring pricing to existing customers, especially when their CFO, Claire, said that growth and impact to the market was more important than profitability at this stage of the company.
That's exactly what Tom Fink said over here, and he mentioned, and we have some great people in our community, people who not only have a great education, but even more so a great experience as CFOs of publicly traded companies. And he said, I think this is a huge mistake by Rivian. I haven't seen my price changing yet. Customer lifetime value. I told customer service the same. Rivian should just eat the cost and buy itself a huge customer loyalty. Didn't the CFO, which is what you just mentioned, Skylar, say that they were focused on market share and not profitability in the near term? A big decrease in pre-orders will surely tank the stock as much or more than a little less profitability for the next 12 to 18 months. That's a very good point. And if I come back to you guys, I mean, and there's tons of great points like this. I mean, a lot of good, well thought out points here. But you might be thinking, or people might be saying, what do you expect them to do when they announced the price of a car 3 years ago and prices have gone up and the market's changed and all that kind of stuff? I understand that. We always knew that the price was going to go up. We always knew that. What we didn't expect is that the LE, the launch edition reservation holders, which they capped to a certain number, would be included in that. I thought for sure that even perhaps people outside of the launch edition who were adventure or explore or whatever, you know what I mean, that they might receive it even though they'd already pre-ordered. But, you know, we've always talked like, no way they'll do that to the launch edition people, though. That's probably why they limited it. You know what I mean? Because they can't get 200,000 orders and honor that price. But they will definitely be able to for their launch edition people who have been with them since November 29th, 2018. You know what I mean? And that's what I mean by like feeling duped or betrayed, is that I'm not asking them to never raise the price. And if I was getting into it now and comparing it to F-150 and Hummer and those other trucks out there, then sure, I understand that. Again, I'm not saying that I think it's a horrible value. I do think that it has a lot of other competition now. It's not about the price to me. It's how they did it, and it feels like betrayal. I mean, that's just what it feels like. Launch edition. There's a finite amount of people that stuck their noses out to you, and if we could just do the reverse math, how many launch edition pre-order holders are there?
They won't tell us that because they're not communicating.
They won't tell us that. We know that as of last time they had like 71,000 overall, but launch editions were like sold out quickly, right?
Maybe my guess is 15,000. I feel like that's a solid number. And if you look at even $20,000 price increase on 15,000 vehicles, what does that do to the long-term financials of Rivian?
So I think that the average price increase is more around 15. That's what you had, Skylar. That's Jimmy, what you had. Okay. Mine was 18 at the highest because I had like the white interior and L cap and a couple other things that are now super expensive. So 15,000 of 15,000 is 225 million. Yeah, that's no like slouch number. But in the context of all that they have raised, in the context of how long it'll take them to become profitable, like, are you kidding me? Like, this is an easy decision. Launch edition holders should be honored. You know what I mean? Like, not everyone. I'm just saying, like, I always expected launch edition owners, launch edition pre-order holders. I mean, it's crazy to me that the kind of goodwill that we have built them and built with them, that they would just wash it under the bridge without so much as a sorry or we regret this, or you know what I mean? Just an email, your price is increasing, Team Rivian.
So they have now potentially set the tone for what kind of company they really are. Mm-hmm. Not what kind of company they talk about wanting to be, but they have now potentially set that tone and set that precedent. And I'm really curious to hear from Rivian leadership about this because it's a big deal. And when you say that a price increase is due to inflation, and yet you announce a price increase much greater than inflation, that
it at least warrants explanation.
It is not genuine.
Mm-hmm.
It's not.
That's what I was trying to get to, Skylar, is that to me it's not about the money. The word that I'm coming down to with betrayal and duped is trust. You just lose trust as far as like everything they say they're about. And now some concrete examples of what reality is. There's a misalignment there. And so now you have to make the decision of maybe this is just a mistake. Come on. This has been so thought about for so long, for months at this point. They didn't figure this out last week. They've known about this since the last earnings call and probably 6 months before that. And to bring it out on the month of like the big wave of deliveries.
And Kyle, if I was Rivian and if I was going to do this, number one, I would have announced an inflation-related price increase 2 years ago, and then another one a year ago, and maybe another one now. But it still would not add up to what they sprung on us suddenly today.
The other reason I thought that it couldn't be like that launch edition holders would be grandfathered in is because we've been told that they have all their supply for launch edition. Like they already have that, right? I mean, we've been told they have everything they need to fulfill launch edition as far as battery, chips, and all that stuff.
Yeah, like I was talking about earlier, the incremental change. If they had, when Nikki and I were at dinner, I made the analogy of like a frog in a pot of boiling water. You don't put the frog in the boiling water. You slowly turn the heat up.
Yep.
Get me comfortable with $97,000, and maybe I'd pay it. But you literally just set me in a boiling pot of water and expect me to be okay with it, and it's not okay.
Yep, that's a good point.
It's not okay. And here's the other thing. I own GM vehicles. I'm a huge Jeep fan. If Jeep ever treated me like a frog in a pot of boiling water, I would drop them like a. I'm trying not to curse, but dude, you don't do that to customers. You don't do it, especially when you're trying at the beginning. You're trying to build a brand. You're trying to build loyalty in the customer base. I don't know who's making these decisions. I wish I did. There's other things, other competitive products, good products that all of us can buy today.
Yeah.
Or in the very near future. And we've held out for years for Rivian. And I'll tell you what, if I don't hear from Rivian by the end of this week, I'm done.
Yeah.
I mean, all that to say too, Skylar, how do they fix this? I mean, say they make it right. What changes? How do we know they're not going to do something ridiculous like this later? You know what I'm saying?
That's a great question. And that's why I want to know personally, and I want to hear from Rivian, who made this decision and why. I want transparency. I want honesty. That is how you gain customer loyalty. And we don't have it right now. All we have is this, which is absolutely freaking ridiculous. And we need more from Rivian if Rivian wants our business.
Jimmy, your question is so good because at first I go, the how they fix it is that what I would suggest you draw a better line, which is that our handful of launch edition owners who had that chance and went with it when it was such a risk, we're going to honor you guys. You know, everyone else, it is what it is. But then to your point, Jimmy, how can we feel like we can trust Rivian from now on? I don't know. And I mean, so then that still is something that everyone's going to have to deal with individually.
Trust is something that, in all honesty, the way that I see it, Rivian is going to have to earn back. And the only way to even try to fix it, in my opinion, is to look at what it has caused and quickly address it.
To fix it, you got to get new leadership in. I mean, seriously, though.
So here's the deal. I feel like RJ's heart has always been in the right place. I feel like he is getting poor guidance from somewhere. Yeah. And I don't know where that is, but I would love to understand a little bit better where this guidance is coming from and how it came about.
Yeah.
Because, dude, I'll tell you what, with all of the EV and non-EV competition that's on the market today, for a brand new company, I feel like this is a colossal mistake.
I did too. Last night on our RS Backer call, we were talking about what are the things that could take Rivian down. We're talking about like the runway, not enough runway. Never would I have expected that 24 hours later we would be here talking about this. Because I don't know what you said, Jimmy, was like, be surprised if there's not 10,000 cancellations by like tomorrow morning, for crying out loud. I mean, we're obviously quite connected to the pulse of the pre-order community, and it is horrible. I mean, it's a bloodbath. People are livid. Yeah.
Yep.
The other part that sucks about all this that we haven't even talked about is what happens to this. I mean, obviously, all the friends we've made, that doesn't go away. But what happens to Rivian Stories? What happens to the YouTube channel?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't personally, for me, if I'm not a Rivian supporter anymore and I don't own a Rivian, I mean, I wish them the best.
Yeah.
But I would want the videos down. I wouldn't want to look at them anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I'll tell you what, though, seriously, and I hope that this is not a goodbye video, but the community has been absolutely incredible. I mean, I've loved meeting. If it wasn't for Rivian, I wouldn't have met you guys.
Yeah.
And now, seriously, even though we don't see each other much other than on a computer, like y'all are incredible people.
Yeah.
And I consider you close friends.
Totally.
And actually, there's so many more people within the community that I feel the same way about. And that is the part that's really going to suck. But I mean, I'll potentially just be doing things in my Jeep that a Rivian can never do. So
this is so, on one hand, it's a stinking vehicle. On the other hand, though, like, it's been such a great ride and met so many great people, and it became more than a vehicle.
Yeah, right.
That's why it stinks so bad. It's a community now. It's, dreams of taking road trips and, getting, I mean, there's a lot of good potential for this,
I mean, man, this is incredibly disappointing, as three of us are some of the biggest Rivian fans, and it's tough to handle, and it's almost or might be too much for us. So I think that should be a big indicator and a big red flag for Rivian.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I love you.